Keeping you informed. This is In.form on WBDC and 18 WJTS.
Hello and welcome back to another edition of In.form here on 101 Country WBDC and 18 WJTS. I'm Kaitlyn Neukam, and today it's time to talk about Purdue Extension Dubois County with Miss Chelsea. How are we doing today?
Doing well. Thank you.
We're finally in December. We were just talking about how quickly it came by and, what that all means so far as, holiday planning, this and that, and doing a lot of things that people do during this time of year, which is eating food en masse. So that's kind of what we're kind of talking about today, right?
Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about food safety and kind of the do's and don'ts of your holiday buffet.
Absolutely. So, with that, I kind of quizzed you before we got started here of the various things like what does food safety mean? It's not necessarily about the cooking stuff, but we will touch on that a little bit. But it's more about, when we put out a big meal with a lot of different people and the food sits out kind of on its own for a little bit while we're serving food and whatnot. It's more about, maintaining the food after it's cooked, right?
Yeah. So, of course, there are internal temperatures that we need to cook our food to, and those are very important. But we're going to talk a little bit about sort of the before cooking and then the after cooking, what we need to do so that everybody can enjoy their holiday after they've consumed your beautiful meal and they're not finding themselves having any tummy troubles. We'll just
Absolutely,
put it that way.
Yes. Nobody likes to spend the holidays also in the restroom for a long duration of time. So, being safe rather than sorry is always a good way to, conclude the holidays. So, give us the pre-cooking. What do we need to know? What are some things maybe that we forget about or maybe kind of miss in the mixing of things that we need to remember as we're going into the Christmas holiday season?
Yeah. So, number one thing, right? We all learned this a couple years ago, about 5. Clean hands in, clean hands out. We need to make sure we are washing our hands appropriately, scrubbing them for 20 seconds outside the water, getting those fingernails between the fingers, then rinse under the water. All too often, I can tell you, I see adults, grown adults, with their hands soaped underneath the water. And that soap is not doing a darn thing. It's just coming straight off your hands. So the soap's job is to actually form that bubble around the bacteria and the germs that we're hoping to wash away. So if we don't ever let it form that bubble, nothing's happening on those hands. They're still dirty. So proper hand washing. Take a look next time you wash your hands. See if you're doing it right. If you're not, it's okay. It's time to change. The second big, really, really important thing when we're talking about food safety before we cook is cross-contamination.
Yes, which a lot of maybe some adults think is a myth or a buzzword, but cross-contamination is a real thing. So, Chelsea, maybe give us a rundown of what cross-contamination is, and then, of course, why it's so important so that we prevent food illness.
Yes, so cross-contamination is any time that a potential source of bacteria is going to come in contact with something that's not going to be cooked to a kill temperature, right? So our kill temperature varies depending upon the bacteria and what we're really concerned about, which is why we have those internal cooking temperatures depending upon the kind of product that you're cooking.
Right.
So anytime that we're going to have something raw come in contact with something that is not going to be cooked to the same temperature as that, let's say, chicken, we're going to pay attention to that. We're going to make sure that our raw chicken doesn't touch our veggies or our rice or, our dessert. If you've made a dessert, don't sit that next to your raw chicken cutting board, right? Don't sit it next to your dredging station if you're making fried chicken or something like that. Be very conscientious of where you're setting things out, whether they're resting or prepping. Make sure that you do all your non-cooked prep before your raw prep so that nothing touches that raw chicken, beef, pork, eggs, whatever it is. Now, if you're going to make, let's say, a casserole or a one-pot dish, we don't have to worry so much there because everything in that is going to cook to the needed temperature for the meat. So we're a little bit safer there, but definitely if we're making other side dishes, those sorts of things, pay very close attention.
Right. And I think maybe a common, maybe it's a more local thing of, oh, it'll boil out or it'll cook out and whatnot. That's not necessarily true for every single dish. So knowing each kind of way it's going to be cooked and knowing if it's safe or not, super important. And if you see a family member like myself who are constantly washing their hands in between touching things or wiping down the working surface, don't judge them. They're doing it to keep you safe and healthy.
Say thank you and go buy them some more Clorox wipes.
Yes, I definitely need more Clorox wipes. But, again, that's just quick steps or, maybe steps that you can keep in the back of your mind so that everyone stays healthy. It just keeps everything separate, even though I think one of my family members says, well, it all ends up in the same place. But that doesn't mean that bacteria and other germs aren't going to be along for the ride causing problems later on. So safe is best. And then, as we, again, kind of get through the pre-cooking, is there anything else you want to add, while the pre-meal, per se, kind of look out for?
One of the biggest things that we run into in our food safety classes and with home cooks is this idea that they need to wash their chicken. Don't wash your chicken.
See, I don't know who started the wash your chicken thing, but
I don't know. Don't do it. You don't need to put dish soap on it either. No, your chicken is fine. Straight out the package. No need to wash it. Trim it up. Cook it how you like it. But all you're doing if you wash it is contaminating your sink with salmonella.
Oh, that's not a very good thing to think about.
Yeah. And no, it's not.
So you do not have to wash your raw chicken. Again, there are other certain like raw vegetables that definitely wash that because, that's been in dirt and, it's been handled by a lot of things. But the chicken, not maybe not so much.
Yeah. Wash your veggies, fruit and veggies. Again, no soap, just running water. What we're trying to get off of there, it's called gross debris. So those are like our particles that we can see. We're not worried about sanitizing them, right? Which is what you do when you put soap on it, right? You're washing the germs off. We're not worried about that because we're going to cook it to the correct temperature to kill all of the bacteria that might potentially be on there. What we're worried about is getting the dirt off because I don't really like eating dirt. So.
You don't?
Not particularly.
I mean, it sounds like there's supposed to be nutrients in dirt. However, I don't think, flavor-wise, it's the best for most people.
It's not the greatest.
So don't wash your chicken. Wash your veggies with just water. And that kind of, again, gets us into, okay, you're going to cook all this stuff. It's going to get warm in the kitchen. And maybe you got some things that are, refrigeration-based. So you've got those with the warm. So let's put it all together in that buffet. What does that kind of look like? And what does it mean to, put everything away in a timely manner?
Yeah. So refrigeration temperature, right, is 41 degrees or less. And your cooking temperatures are going to be 135 degrees or more, right? So that's our hot food. We want to keep our hot food hot, above 135. We want to keep our cold food cold, less than 41. There's something that we call the temperature danger zone, which is where bacteria really thrive. They love it. It's like a jacuzzi for them. It's their favorite place to be. And that's between 70 degrees and 135 degrees. So most of us keep our houses at about, 69 to 72, depending if you're cold-natured like myself, right? And that's right at the edge of that temperature danger zone. So when we let things rise in temperature from cold or decrease in temperature from hot, we're really in that perfect space for bacteria to multiply rapidly. And that's what we're trying to avoid. Now, with cold foods, you have 6 hours to consume, or we throw it away.
Oh.
Right, 6 hours from the moment it comes out of the refrigerator before it reaches that really critical temperature and it no longer is safe to consume. Now, if you're going to want to eat it again later, you want to get it down to 41 degrees before that 6 hours. So let's say you put out a pasta salad, right? Because pasta is one of those things that used to be hot. Now it's cold. It has to stay cold. If you put out a pasta salad and it's sat out for 2 hours, everybody's done eating, you get it back into the fridge, you're well within that 6 hour range. As long as your fridge isn't overloaded and it's actually working, right? You're within that 6 hour range. Right. That would be safe to eat it again later. If it has sat out for, let's say, 4-5 hours, and then we're going to try and cool it back down, depending how much is left, there's a good chance that that's not going to be the best thing to eat again. So you're going to make your decision at your discretion on whether or not you think it's safe. If it's within that 6 hour window, 6 hours and 5 minutes, it's going into the trash or you're going to feed your chickens. Right.
Right. I mean, for those who are fanatics of deviled eggs, I know they're very good this time of year for sure. You don't want those deviled eggs to be haunting you later on. So making sure that they end up back in the fridge as soon as everyone's done being served. I think that's a safe bet. And you can always go sneak one if you need another one.
Yes, absolutely. It's okay to open the refrigerator door and get another egg. Serving it on an ice tray is also a great way to help to lengthen that time that it's been kept cold so that, again, you might be able to salvage them later by getting them back into the fridge and back to that 41 degrees within the 6-hour range. So think about how you're serving things that are cold. Try and keep cold things cold. On the other end of the spectrum, right, the hot things hot.
Mm-hmm.
Making sure that things are not dropping below 135 degrees. We have 4 hours to get hot things back to hot or all the way to cold, right? So if you're serving, let's say, a soup for the holidays, we want to make sure that it's maybe kept on a warmer or, on your stove on very low so that it can maintain that warm temperature above 135 degrees ideally. But you do have 4 hours, right? So if it drops a little bit, you just crank that heat up, you get it back to simmering, you get it back to that warm stage, and then our time extends again for another 4 hours. So making sure that, again, our hot things stay hot. Now, when you are done with your hot soup, we want to make sure it reaches 41 degrees within 6 hours, right? So that's where we don't want to just put the whole pot into the refrigerator because it's not going to cool fast enough. Make sure that you're putting it into individual containers and getting it into that refrigerator so that it can get cold and you can actually eat it later and, again, don't have to pitch it.
Right. And for maybe some people around here who are also like, well, we can't put something that's hot in the fridge too fast or else it'll be too hot for the fridge and it'll get a lot of condensation and have a lot of water in it. Is there a middle ground to that? Because I know a lot of people that are like, oh, well, we can't put it in the fridge yet. It's too hot. But also, if you're going to be leaving and you leave this out, it might go bad by the time you get back. So you kind of have to play devil's advocate for that.
Yeah. So putting it into the smaller containers is definitely going to help. Filling your sink with cold water, throw a little bit of ice in there, set those containers in your sink, start to bring it down before you put it into the refrigerator. When we're talking restaurant cooking, restaurants on purpose leave a little bit of water out. So if you're going to be doing, let's say, some meal prepping and you know that you're going to make this dish ahead of time, leave a little bit of water out of the recipe, make it a little bit thicker so that you can put some ice cubes in there and you can account for that water being added later as you're cooling it down. So sometimes it's a little cooking math that you have to do.
A little cooking hack with Chelsea here. I like it. You kind of have to do, like you said, cooking math. You kind of have to think ahead of time and be like, okay, if we make it thick now, we can add some stuff in later. It'll cool down faster. And it's kind of a dance that you do with it. But again, ensuring that you have the cold stuff going in when it needs to be cold and the hot stuff cooling down or being hot enough to when then it needs to cool down. Those are things that people don't think about because we get in grandma and grandpa's house. So there's a lot of family members there. We get caught up with everything. It starts getting a little warmer in the house because there's so many people. That's, your cue to, hey, maybe turn down the thermostat if you're going to have guests. I'm one of those that are like, can we turn this down a little bit? However, that also makes the room temperature for the food a little hotter, a little cooler. So it doesn't just affect the people; it affects the food that you have out too.
Your 6 and your 4 hours is going to come a lot faster. Yeah. So another example that I think is really common around here is fried chicken. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's really hard unless you buy those catering warming trays to keep your fried chicken hot. Right. So automatically, the moment that we either heat that fried chicken up or get it from wherever we've chosen to purchase it, our time has started. Right? So even on the drive home, that time has started. We really don't have all that much time. So it's one of those situations where things like fried chicken, baked potatoes, potato wedges, those need to go into the refrigerator as soon as everybody's made it through the line.
Right.
So when you're up there and you're kind of, well, did anybody want seconds? Has everybody eaten? That's probably your indication to start getting out your your Tupperware and putting away your fried chicken, your potatoes, your deviled eggs. Some other things are if you have like cold cuts and there are accoutrements to your sandwiches like lettuce or tomatoes, anything that has been sliced, that is now a danger food, right? So that's something that we're going to want to put into the refrigerator, keep it cold. Veggie trays are okay. They can sit out a little bit longer because that food has not been heated. So anything that once was heated and is now cold is an issue, like rice. We were talking about rice earlier, right? So that rice is a plant product that was once hot and is now maybe not hot. So we do need to take that into account, or make sure we're watching our time on that. Any soy products. So if you are eating a meat alternative, like the Beyond Burger, Beyond Chicken, those sorts of things are also considered temperature-controlled foods. Any sort of meat, fish, shellfish, eggs, all those good things that we know in our heart, right? That we know we're paying attention to those. Usually it's the veggies and the side dishes that get us.
And that's something to note too. We kind of played the typical thing of, oh, I got sick at the holiday gathering. It was probably those kids that have been at school and this and that. Sometimes it might just be from, accidentally having something in the food that gives you a tummy ache for a little longer than you would hope for too. So this is why food safety is so important, especially as we did just have Thanksgiving, but as we go into more holiday gatherings, it is important as a cook, as a baker, as a food transportation person, whatever you might be designated this holiday season, to keep all of this in mind, because it does matter in the end.
It really does. It really does. And speaking of Thanksgiving, pumpkin pies, right? That's one we really, don't think about. It's my favorite. That needs to be refrigerated. It's got to be kept cold.
Really? I thought it was always just on the counter.
Oh, no, it shouldn't be.
Caitlin's learning something today.
Right. So our whipped cream that sits out next to the pumpkin pie, got to be kept cold. Right? Those are things that you get them out, you serve them, and then when people are no longer interested or really showing interest in the pie, we're going to put it away so we can eat it later for breakfast with our coffee.
Yes, absolutely. So pumpkin pie should probably be in the fridge with the whipped cream. That's something I'm going to start doing after today. But again, these are just things that maybe if you're not sure about, just put it in the fridge just to be safe. And if you're really not for sure about it and it's been out for an unknown time, you might just have to cut your losses and say, okay, it's time to throw it out.
Yeah, unfortunately, and I know it hurts my soul, the food waste, but unfortunately, sometimes it does reach that point where it's better just throw it out. Like, when in doubt, throw it out. That's the saying for a reason. We do see people hospitalized with foodborne illnesses.
Right.
And it can be very dangerous, and it can potentially be fatal, even for somebody who's not immunocompromised or not a small child. Those are usually the people that we worry about the most because they don't have fully formed and developed immune systems, our elderly population. But, you and I, we can get taken down by little bacteria.
Yeah, and that's the scary part for sure. Chelsea, is there anything else you'd like to share with us today? You've shared a lot of kind of maybe some scary things to think about, but a lot of it is, for the betterment of everyone's health, and we want to make sure everyone stays healthy this holiday season as we go into the colder months and whatnot, and a lot of that includes food safety and food health. So
yeah, it is incredibly important. We make food for people out of love, and we want to do our best and make sure that we continue to do the best for those people as we express our love through our cooking. So definitely something to pay attention to. If you have questions, give me a call, and have a safe and happy holiday.
Fantastic. Chelsea with Purdue Extension Dubois County. Always a pleasure. And of course, we wish you a very happy holidays as well. And only good spirits in the kitchen as you cook this holiday season.
Yeah, turn on 103.3 and dance around to some Christmas music.
That's always a good start for sure. But we appreciate your time today, and we look forward to seeing what Purdue Extension Dubois County has to offer in future conversations as well.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening and watching your In.form here on 101 Country, WBDC, and 18 WJTS with Purdue Extension Dubois County.
This has been In.form on WBDC and 18 WJTS. Catch past episodes on our social media pages and our websites. If it matters to you, it matters to us. In.form.